Hello.
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 And welcome to the Weekend Superheroes Podcast. Today is Wednesday, February 8th, 2017. My name is Sean, and sitting with me always is Darius, Pat, and Steve. Steve, let's talk about what happened last episode. Do you remember?
We talked to a real-life superhero.
What was his name?
Master Legend.
That's right.
The Master.
The man, the myth, the legend. What is he? He's got something coming out.
He has I don't know if you want to call it a television show. It's a series, though.
On Amazon, yeah. Television.
Yeah, it's called The Legend of Master Legend. It's a show about Master Legend.
Yeah,
Wow,
it's
that's like
coming
a
out
meta
this year.
legend.
On Amazon. Yeah.
So if you get a chance, guys, check that out. It's the last podcast. So today, we are going to talk about, I thought we'd really, really bring up the mood and talk about death. One of the most popular items to talk about.
Bringing up the mood to talk about death, man. That really brings
Let's
it up.
really turn this up a notch and talk about death.
Let's raise the roof.
Who wants to have fun?
Specifically, what happens after we die. Pat, question. When you die, where are you going?
Wilmerding.
Good bars out there? What's happening in Wolverine?
Oh, I just figured that's where people go to die.
Little Eastern summer
No,
outside
actually,
the city.
they come here to die.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry.
The buzzword today is reincarnation. Say
We definitely.
This
the
isn't
Pee-wee
Pee-wee's
Herman?
Playhouse?
Yeah, Pee-wee's word of the day.
Can you guys say it with me?
Reincarnation.
Holy shit.
The philosophical or religious concept that is an aspect of a living being. It starts with a new life and a different physical body or form after each biological death. So you die today, you can immediately be reborn across the globe. One life you're here, next life you're a dirt farmer in India.
You know, I've heard people say that the light at the end of the tunnel,
Yeah, what is that?
it's whenever you're being born into a new body, you're coming out the womb.
Holy shit.
Boom.
Oh, I just thought
There
it was
you
a
are.
train coming to hit me.
There you are. Like Winston in Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
Winston.
Well, that's pretty genius. Darius, do you believe in the possibility of reincarnation?
I think I do. But what would you want to be?
Wow, way to answer a question with a question.
Hitting you back.
Yeah.
Well, that's actually my next question. If you died right now, what would you want to be in your next life?
I know Sean would want to be a butterfly.
Yeah, like would you want to be like an animal that, lives its life?
I want to be a
happily,
dolphin.
Or...
I want to be a dolphin.
Like
Oh, was that
Flipper?
the sound effect I was supposed to insert late?
Right.
Would you want to be like a show dolphin or just like one that's just chilling out like in the coast?
No, chilling out. They're the only fish that have sex for pleasure, right? Isn't that?
Yeah, that's true.
They also masturbate. On the ocean
so
floor.
How?
So we are basically just land
On the ocean
We're
floor.
land dolphins.
I noticed
Pretty
Darius'
much, yeah.
I didn't
ears
see that
perked up pretty quick when you
I
said
didn't see that in Finding Nemo, but all right.
So how were you
Darius,
supposed
it's called a blowhole.
how were you supposed to remember your past life? Is it possible? According to psychotherapists, it is. Something called past life regression. Wikipedia tells us that past life regression is a technique that uses hypnosis to recover what practitioners believed are memories of past lives or incarnations. Typically, it's undertaken either the pursuit of something like a spiritual experience or some kind of psychotherapeutic setting. So we're going to start with Steve. Steve, you got something for us, right?
Studies show a 1976 study found that 40% of hypnotizable subjects described new identities and used different names when given a suggestion to regress past their birth. Then, in the 1990s, a series of experiments undertaken by Nicholas Spanos examined the nature of past life memories. Descriptions of alleged past lives were found to be extremely elaborate, with vivid, detailed descriptions. His research led him to conclude that past lives are not memories, but actually social constructions based on patients acting as if they were someone else.
Pat, in fact, you're funked.
Yeah.
Oh, as if.
So what, do you think this is bullshit? Do you think people are just saying this for attention? What's the
I
point?
mean, I don't rightly know, but I'm not sure that I believe in hypnosis to begin with, so that's kind of a big part of this.
we
right?
should get a hypnotist on
Yeah,
the
we
podcast,
should.
right?
I think
I've
so.
never been hypnotized. Have you?
I just don't. I think I'm unhypnotizable.
I thought you were hypnotized right now, Darius.
they tend to remember vivid details about someone else's life. There's cases of this all over the world. People speak languages they've never learned before. They tell secrets about people they've never even met.
Wait, so you could speak English in a past life?
I do my best.
Hopefully
Did you
better.
even read it?
Yeah, hopefully better than now.
It's not fair. Pat, I believe you have some examples for us.
I do. Trained psychiatrist Dr. Brian Weiss wrote a book called Messages from the Masters. In it, he tells the story of a patient of his named Diane, who was a nurse at an urgent care center. During a past life regression session, Diane supposedly experienced the life of a young settler in North America. She specifically talked about hiding from a hunting party with her toddler son in a secret compartment while her husband was away. She described the baby as having a birthmark shaped like a half moon or curved sword beneath his right shoulder. While hiding, the son cried out. Out of fear for their lives and in an effort to quiet him, the woman accidentally smothered the child by covering his mouth. Thanks for making me read this, by the way. Months after the regression experience, Diane felt herself attracted to a patient who had been admitted for asthma attacks. The patient also felt a connection or familiarity with Diane. Diane was shocked when she noticed a crescent-shaped birthmark in the same location on the patient. Dr. Weiss claims to have seen asthma in people whose previous memories involved death by suffocation.
By the way, update on this whole story. They married each other.
Oh, see, that wasn't in what I read.
Oh, sorry.
So, no one knows that.
So, what? It's not possible for someone to have the exact same birthmark in the exact same place that they recall this. It's just a little eerie, the fact that this woman recalls this one memory of the birthmark and smothering her baby, and the next thing you know, finds herself very attracted to a man with this.
At that point, I don't think it's just coincidence. I think there's something that we don't understand going on.
Maybe reincarnation?
Wah, wah, wah.
Yeah.
I thought that was the buzzword. Weren't you guys supposed to scream or something?
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm drunk.
Right, okay. So if you're still not convinced that you, yourself, our listeners, have been born over and over and went ahead and comprised a list of life's subtle little hints and evidence proving we're nothing more than a current link in a chain of countless other people. Steve, what do you got for us?
Listen, don't blame me for your research for your websites that you use. All right.
I'm going to cut that out and make this your own anyway.
This
so
is
go-
bullshit. Don't cut that out. All right, so these are paraphrased from lonerwolf.com, which Sean researched from. Signs your soul has been reincarnated. 1. Recurring dreams. Dreams are reflections of the unconscious mind, and while repetitive dreams may sometimes signify trauma, they can also be a reflection of unfinished business, that's in quotes, from past or present life experiences. Number 2, feeling older or younger than your age reflects. Have you ever heard of the term young at heart or old soul? Some would say this is a reflection of the lives you lead before this one. If you exude childlike mannerisms, perhaps your past life didn't live past a certain age. Likewise, if you mature faster than others, perhaps your soul left behind its old classic lifestyle. 3, deja vu. Deja vu is that bizarre feeling that somehow we have already experienced or lived a moment in time. It is often triggered by smells, sounds, sights, tastes, and various other sensations. Since these senses are most often tied to a memory, some believe it is revealing of past life experience. Wow, that's fucking deep.
Right.
Did you know that smell is actually the sense most closely linked to
yeah,
memory?
Is the top one, right?
Yeah.
So you smell something and your mind goes back. But I feel like when it comes to deja vu, like I still recall why or when in my present life that I remember.
Well, deja vu means they changed something in the Matrix.
Right. You see two cats.
The craziest shit, though, is like when you experience deja vu, like there's certain times where like there's one thing that'll happen, and in my head I'm like, well, this is gonna happen next, and this is gonna happen, and this is gonna happen. I've gotten to the certain point where like after that I'm like, I don't know what the fuck happened.
Wait. So when you experience deja vu, you feel like you know the next 3 or possible 4 things?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh shit.
I've actually only had deja vu once or twice, but like when it did happen, I actually had a hard time like separating what I thought had happened and what was really happening. Like they were so close.
Yeah.
It was like being in 2 times at once almost.
Anything unfamiliar, meaning something that you wouldn't recall in your present life, and you're just like, wow, that just blows my mind because I've never seen that before.
No, I mean it was very brief, but it was literally like hitting replay. Like it was like the exact same.
Yeah, like it's not like minutes of time drawn out. It's like
it was like
30 seconds where like I'm like
if that.
Yeah, I'm like, all right, well this is gonna happen. This person's gonna come over here. This person's gonna do this, and then it all happens. I'm just like, what the fuck?
How far does it go out for you? I mean
not very far. It's just like I said, like maybe 20 or 30 seconds.
I feel like I felt that before too. Like I can almost like. Say
Pat's gonna have a beer. Darius is gonna say something stupid.
I'm gonna mess something up reading.
Steve's gonna be on his phone.
No, I just feel like I could almost say word for word what the next person is gonna say. But it never goes to the like far back enough where I would say it was a past life. I'm not saying I disagree with this, but it's just like I almost know what's gonna happen so far in the future that there's no way it could be that far back in the past. I guess.
Wow, you just blew my mind.
My brain hurts.
Why can't you remember the past?
Because the previous one, there's like a break between your two lives, and it's just cut. Yeah,
cuts off.
Yeah,
you don't have that
cut
connection.
It out. You don't.
Yeah,
you don't remember it.
Well, this is and this is a theory coming from the Aetherius Society, whose tag name, by the way, is "Cooperating from the Gods from Space." So.
Aetherius.
so let that sink in. And they say that all knowledge is stored deep within our subconscious mind.
Deep.
But because we have not sufficiently developed our brains well enough, we're only able to access a very small part of our memory.
Bullshit.
I blame whiskey. I don't know if that's sort of my thing.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's like that myth where they say that humans only use like 15% of their brain. That's not even true. We use almost our entire brain, just not all at the same time.
Not all at the same time, right? So you think there's a possible way that we could ever access a part of the memory that is our past life?
No.
I mean, maybe. I don't know. I'm a computer guy, right? So if the hardware changes, you can't access any of it. So unless there's a big cloud storage for our memories, I'm going to say no.
Well, I got some fun for you today. We're going to talk to someone who can actually help us with that. On Skype with us now is an amazing woman who wears many hats. She's a healer, a clairvoyant, a spiritual artist, an author, and a past life regression therapist. The very talented Dr. Lesley Phillips. Dr. Lesley, how are you tonight?
I'm fantastic, thank you. Great. I'm really looking forward to this.
We cannot thank you enough for coming out and hanging out with us. What do you actually prefer to be called? Is it Lesley, Dr. Phillips, or Wonder Woman?
Well, Wonder Woman sounds good.
Okay.
Maybe we'll stick with Dr. Lesley.
Dr. Lesley it is. Okay. So I can tell by your accent that you were born in Canada. Is that right?
No.
I'm joking.
I was like, wait a minute. How does that mean Canada?
Dr. Lesley, tell everybody where you're from.
I was born in England, actually. But I actually spent part of my childhood in Australia, so some people get confused about the accent, which one it is.
Did you break the law?
English.
Is that why they sent you to Australia?
Well, it's a bit transatlantic by now because I've been in Canada for about 19 years.
Where at in Canada?
I am in British Columbia, just outside of Vancouver.
Cool.
Dr. Lesley, where were you and when were you when you first realized you had the gift for being a clairvoyant?
Well, you know what? Everyone's clairvoyant. And the problem is that our society does not support that focus and orientation for people. So everybody's trained in their intellect. So I would say as a very young child, I was aware of it. But my journey was like most other people in that I have a PhD. So I went through the education system and for a long time had to focus on my intellect and then remember my intuitive gifts sometime later. So I would say throughout my childhood, there were bits and pieces of me remembering, but I really started getting into it more deeply in my teens and 20s because I kept a dream diary. And the dream diary was my window into spiritual information, because at that time my intellect was so strong while I was awake. That's all I could do was think logically. And so those times when I was asleep, my intellect wasn't engaged, and I started to have experiences of past lives, of premonitions of my own life, meeting spirit guides and all sorts of things. And that sent me on a quest to find out more and awaken to the point where I can access it consciously while I'm awake now.
All right, so you actually kept a dictaphone under your pillow and began recording your dreams at night to find out more about yourself through the subconscious.
I did.
What was the most important thing you learned about now or the past?
I learned that we are spirit. We are so much more than our physical bodies. We are multidimensional, eternal beings. And our physical experience is just a small portion of the totality of who we are.
I don't mean to interrupt, but we're talking about personally you. What did you learn about yourself?
I learned that I was a spiritual consciousness and not a physical body.
That's pretty deep.
It's the little things, right?
Oh, no, I got it.
That's
So
super
something real
deep.
simple. No, we understand now. Thank you.
No, that's awesome. That's very cool. So you trained in Canada at the CDN Psychic Institute and went through pretty vigorous clairvoyant training programs. What was the most unique class you took there? Is there one that stands out and just kind of really blew your mind?
The whole thing is amazing. It's like a modern day mystery school. It's probably the best place on the planet where you can learn how to open your intuition. And every moment in a class there is mind-blowing.
It's like a real-life Hogwarts.
I was just going to say.
Oh, man. I'm trying to go there. If it's like Hogwarts, they got paintings on the wall that talk. I'm in.
So that's pretty. I think Steve actually had a
Yeah,
question for you.
so that's pretty crazy. Dr. Lesley, you're an author of a book called The Midas Tree. It's a story about a boy named Joshua who goes on a journey towards enlightenment, meeting lots of unique spiritual characters along his way. How much of Joshua is actually little Lesley Phillips, or is this character based off of someone else?
Joshua's journey is the journey of every human being, every spiritual master, and every ordinary person, because it is the journey. It's basically the journey of spiritual enlightenment, the journey of spiritual growth, and that's the common journey that all humanity is on. So there is a little bit of me, and there is a little bit of you, and there's a little bit of everyone.
And a dash of Darius.
in Joshua.
A little bit of Darius, the only one you remembered out of the four.
It's the glasses.
Definitely the glasses.
So you read an excerpt of the book on one of your YouTube videos. Guys, check her out, by the way. If you just hop on YouTube, you can find out so much more about Lesley. But you read a little excerpt.
It's an excerpt.
An expert excerpt from Dr. Lesley. And it sounded like it was from the beginning. But my question is, I already know the answer, but I want you to tell the world, where did you come up with the inspiration for your book, The Midas Tree?
Well, I mean, a simple way of saying is to say that it was channeled, but I better explain what I mean by that. It's basically a book that came from my higher self. It came directly from spirit. And so the inspiration was, I didn't sit down and think about it intellectually. I didn't plan it. I just knew that I was meant to write. But I didn't know what I was meant to write, so I meditated on clearing anything that was in between me and being able to access what I was meant to write about.
That's awesome.
Lesley, do you like what you do?
I love it.
Do your past lives like what you do?
Yeah. Well, Lesley, I got to say something. We need your help. The Weekend Superheroes need your help more than anything. We all do. We're in our 30s, okay? We're unmarried. We'd still rather kill a six-pack than say, I don't know, read a book. We need to know who in our past lives was dragging us down.
Because in this life, it's you three that are dragging me down.
So, Dr. Lesley, if there's any help you can provide us, maybe giving us some past life experience, I'd appreciate that. And we're going to let you go ahead and do your thing. You know our names. If you need any other help, by the way, I found out recently that my spirit animal was a butterfly, and my superhero name is Professor Dazzle, if that means anything to you.
I think it's fabulous.
Those are true stories. Those were the past podcasts. But so who would you like to start with? Because we desperately need your help.
Probably Darius.
Okay, well, I'll start with you, Sean.
How about that?
All right.
Yeah.
And by the way, there is maybe just one rule. When it's your turn to be read, make sure you keep your eyes open. Sounds like a funny request, but just keep your eyes open, because that keeps you in a sort of physical focus, and it's better for me to read your energy if you do that. Okay, so I'm just going to take a moment to go into trance.
Do your thing.
And then I'm going to tune into your energy, Sean. And the first thing I'm going to tell you is, let's see, before I even get to a past life, is it looks like you have been on this planet incarnating in a physical body about half the time that humans have been incarnating here. So it looks like you kind of joined us not from the very beginning. So I'm seeing that that's what the new growth cycle is about. It's about creating and learning how to create stuff in the world. So I'm going to look for a past life that represents that's going to be one that's relevant to you. And I'm looking at a relatively recent one, and I'm actually seeing images of one of the world wars. So it's either the First or Second World War, and I'm seeing you be a soldier, and I'm actually seeing you be in the trenches. And I'm just seeing which war it is, so give me a second. And I feel like you're a British soldier, and you're fighting on the front. And you know, like those classic images that you see on war films, where they're lying in the mud and there's explosions going off, barbed wire everywhere. And I'm seeing in that lifetime, in that moment in that lifetime that I'm looking at, there was a real focus on staying alive and self-preservation. And I'm seeing that one of the things that you really needed to help you do that was to be present. It's like I've got to be 100% present, awake, aware, alert, and observe everything that's going on around me if I'm going to stay alive. And I'm seeing that you're showing us that particular lifetime right now because, like I mentioned, it looks like you're in a growth cycle where you're really wanting to get your energy into your body. And it looks like that situation in that lifetime forced you to do that. And I'm seeing that soldier made it out. He actually made it out. He actually did survive. And one of the main reasons was because he managed to stay really, really focused. Now, actually seeing he lived to be an old man. All right, so that's your quickie. That's your quickie past life reading.
That was the best quickie I've had in
Quick
months.
quickie, huh?
He only does quickies.
Holy shit, Dr. Lesley. That was deep. That was the first time I've ever seen anyone go into a trance during a quickie. That was awesome.
Wait, they've never reached a trance before?
Yeah, a trance as opposed to falling asleep.
Yes, but none of my victims ever made it out. So that was that was. Dr. Lesley, thank you so much. I guess we got to move on. We'll let you choose. Who's next?
Darius is next on my list.
All right, we'll flip the camera so you can
God.
look at me.
Good luck to you.
All right.
He's put more women into a trance than I can count on one hand. So good luck to you, Dr. Lesley.
But he's always been acquitted, never convicted.
All right, Darius. So just remember, keep your eyes open.
All right.
And I'll tune into you now. Okay. So if we look at your timeline, I'm seeing that you've been on the planet, also not from the beginning, but maybe 3/4 of the time that humans have been incarnating, and obviously had many past lives. And there's quite a few lighting up for us to look at, but I'm going to see if I can get one in particular. This one is about a third of the way down your timeline. So if this is your timeline, the top's recent history, the bottom is ancient history. It's about a third of the way down. And I'm just going to look, and I believe it's in the Middle East, because I asked for a symbol to locate it, and I got the the star and the moon.
Yeah.
That's the symbol. So so it's a lifetime in the Middle East, and I'm actually being told it's in Jerusalem. And I'm seeing you be kind of like a Jewish scholar. Let's call you a Jewish scholar. I'm seeing it was a long time ago. I'm seeing it was actually, I'm getting it was a few hundred years before the birth of Christ. So that's the area of the planet, and I'm watching you at the moment. You're carrying scrolls. So, and it looks like you were very occupied in studying ancient teachings, in formulating your perception about what they meant, and in teaching other people about your perception of what they meant, and also in making predictions. You went into that lifetime to experience what it is to believe that there's an all-powerful being outside of yourself, and that creates your reality for you. And now you've come to full circle on that to, I'm the master of my own universe.
I'm a master of my own universe.
A master of your own domain, at least.
I like that.
So we'll stop it right there. But that's the one I have for you, Darius.
Well,
Master.
Wow, that was deep.
Dr. Lesley, well done, and congratulations. This is the longest time a woman has ever talked to Darius before in his entire lifetime. So well done, congratulations.
Oh man.
A totally unrelated question. Are you single?
So your turn, Pat. Keep your eyes open.
Keeping them
And
open.
let's switch to your frequency. Okay. So I'm seeing that right now you're working on owning my space and standing my ground. Like, who am I and what do I believe? And just and so I'm seeing that you've had maybe a pattern in your life of giving your energy away or prioritizing other people over yourself. And it looks like you got a little bit out of balance with that. And so now you're really just working on gathering your energy in and focusing on owning your space. I need to own my space. I need to know who I am, and I need to have enough boundaries so that I'm not giving all my energy away, so there's none left for me. So that's the growth cycle that I'm seeing you be in. And it looks like you're about a third of the way through it. And if we look for a past life, and I'm seeing that you have a long timeline, that you've been incarnating on planet Earth for a very long time. And the past life that's coming up for you is about halfway down. So this is an ancient one. And I'm seeing pictures of the ancient Assyrian Empire, I believe, the Assyrians. And I'm seeing those like carved stone tablets. I've seen things like it in the British Museum. So I'm seeing images of kings and gods and that whole belief system from ancient Syria. So let's take a look at who you were. You were someone who created those clay tablets, who actually did the carving of the images. So one might call you a scribe, actually. And I'm seeing that there was it was images and also messages, because there was a written language that they had, very different to our written language, but I'm seeing that you were educated. You could read and write and carve these stone blocks.
Wow, that is awesome. I'm glad I could read or write in a previous life because I can't do it in this one.
Okay, let's
fair.
move on to Steve.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Hi.
Hello.
Your turn. So keep
My
your
turn.
eyes open.
Eyes
Yep.
are open.
So tuning into your level, and you're at the beginning of a new growth cycle. It looks like you're learning something really, really new. And I don't know, it feels like your reality is changing quite quickly. And part of the growth has to do with just learning how to roll with the changes as they're happening. I'm going to look for a past life. This one's a relatively recent one. And I'm feeling that this is I want to say the 1930s, but there's a feeling of time before then, maybe the late 1800s as well. But I'm seeing you be in a female body, and of course, I knew that everyone would have a chuckle at that. But we're neither male or female. We incarnate in different genders, different races, whatever, different religions. But I'm seeing you be in a female body, and I'm watching you. Actually, it feels like Germany. You're blonde, you're in a female body, and you're in this big building with really big windows. And it's a rainy day, and you're standing looking out of the window. And yet there's a feeling of expectation, and there's a feeling of things will never be the same again as well. So it looks like I'm watching you at a time of great change. Well, it looks like one of the things that you're particularly interested in is, like one of your friends, has to do with how we create our reality, but not just as individuals, but as a mass consciousness. And how in Nazi Germany there was a mass consciousness creation that happened on our planet that wasn't really very beneficial, and it looks like maybe some of the things that are happening in the United States at the moment are affecting you and making you go, because we can't just sit by and be passive observers. We have to participate in the conscious mass creation of what we want.
Absolutely.
So I'll leave it there. That's why you brought up that life.
Yeah, for sure.
Dr. Lesley, that was awesome. Thank you so much. And you do this for a living, right? I
do.
Read people's past lives, and you've been doing this for how long?
Oh, I've been doing it for about 20 years.
Oh, wow.
20 years. So you're new at this, I see.
Right.
I cannot thank you enough for hanging out with us. Hey, do you have 5 more minutes to play a little trivia game we play at the end called, you broke the fuck barrier very early on, so it's called Fact or Fucked. Are you in?
Sure.
Great.
But it's F-U-C-T.
It's
Yeah, so it's not
F-U-C-T.
really. You're not really saying.
F-A-C-T and F-U-C-T, so it's not obscene, it's adorable.
F-U-C-T. Okay. I'll try and pronounce it correctly.
We're going to start with you against Darius first, okay?
Darius is really good at this, by the way.
Darius is
best
terrible.
at this game.
You will not have to worry
How
about
does
this.
it work? Do you
Who
shout out? Do you shout out the answer first? Is it like a competition of who gets the
Look,
answer?
I know you're a clairvoyant, but let me ask the question first, and then you can go.
She already knows.
Should I?
She already knows what
I'll
you're gonna
answer.
ask.
How about I answer first and then she'll answer?
Okay, fine. You go first. Okay, ready? The term déjà vu, or the strong feeling of familiarity, translates from French to, quote, already seen, unquote. Fact or fucked?
Fucked.
Fucked.
It's a fact.
It is a fact, Dr.
Oh, yeah.
Told you he was good at this.
I am good
He's
at
terrible.
messing
He's
this up.
terrible at this. Okay. Now you against Pat.
Can I have Dr. Lesley go first this time?
All right, Dr. Lesley, you go first.
You're just going to say whatever she
Of
says.
course I am. She's clairvoyant.
As a strong believer in reincarnation, Sylvester Stallone, famous for the character of Rocky Balboa in the movie series Rocky, claims that he was actually once a boxer who killed another boxer by a knockout punch in the 1930s.
Okay, well, I have to look at that, don't I, to see if that's true or false.
Well, you don't have time for that. Now's the time.
Do, 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 do.
I'm going to say it's fucked.
Why is it so sexy when you say it in that
I
accent?
know. I love it.
Well, I'm also going to say it's full.
You're both wrong. That is a fact. That's a fact.
Oh, that's bollocks.
Steve,
Hi.
I would like you to go first on this.
Okay.
The Book of Han, originally one of the...
Han Solo?
Okay. Originally one
Han Duo.
of the 132 doctrine and books rejected from the modern Christian Bible, goes into depth about reincarnation of Jesus Christ, rejecting the idea that he was God's son in heaven and hell and all immortal life after death.
Fucked.
Fucked. Dr. Lesley?
That was a long snippet. I don't know if I caught it all, but I've never heard of that book. But I would say that Jesus Christ is the Son of God. Every single one of us is. We all emanate from source energy, and he did reincarnate multiple times before he was Jesus. So, in a way, it's a fact.
That's fucked. I made that up.
Or did
Well,
you?
that book is fucked. But the fact that Jesus reincarnated before
That's
he
a
was
fact.
Jesus is true.
That's
he did.
true.
That is.
It's true. There is no
fact.
Book of Han. Han was. I googled something that
You
was
did that
Han
because I like
Solo.
Star
Han
Wars.
Solo, maybe.
You did that because I like Star
Your
Wars.
2011 search engine.
All right, we get to play Darius again. So being clairvoyant, you already know you're
this should
going
be
to
a win for you.
I'm not clairvoyant. I know she's going to win.
In 1968, Lennon. Yes.
John Lennon?
Yep.
Or Vladimir Lenin.
John Lennon called an emergency meeting of the Beatles and said, high on LSD, that he was to reveal to the group that he was Jesus Christ reincarnated. Fact or fuck, Darius?
Fact?
Fact. Dr. Lesley.
Oh, I'll just say it's fucked.
That's a fact, everybody.
It is a fact. Darius got one correct.
Wow.
Two more. I know. I don't want to
Breaking
waste any more of your
news.
time.
I'm
Two more.
shocked.
Pat, you're going first this round.
All right.
In the famous cartoon, The Yogi the Bear Show, Hanna-Barbera created the character Boo Boo Bear as a reincarnated soul of the Huckleberry Hound, where, coincidentally, Yogi the Bear made his first debut.
I'd like to start with, hey, boo-boo, I'm going to send me a picnic basket. And I'm going to say fucked.
Fuck. Dr. Lesley.
And I'm just going to say fact, just to be contrary.
That is fucked. Pat is actually the winner.
I'm really good at this.
Last one that will
You
let
just
you
like
go.
cartoons a lot.
Last one will let you go.
Yeah, I love
Okay.
cartoons.
Hey, boo boo.
Steve, you go first. After a regression therapy session, Phil Collins remains convinced that he
He rocks the house.
was at the 1836 Battle of the Alamo fighting against the Mexicans. Last one, Steve.
That sounds awesome, so I'm going to say fact.
Fact, Dr. Lesley.
Yeah, it sounds. I agree. Fact.
It is a fact.
Oh,
Yeah!
There we go.
Is that what he felt it coming in the air tonight?
He felt the cannonballs, everything.
Guys, thank you, Dr. Lesley, so much for coming out and hanging
You're
out with us.
welcome.
I hope you had some fun. I hope you enjoyed yourself.
I did.
If you guys want to
Great.
find out more about Dr. Lesley, book a session with her. You can find her at Dr. Lesley Phillips, DrLesleyPhillips.com. And can you hit us with your social media? Anything you have out there?
Okay. Well, I mean, you can get all my social media off drlesleyphillips.com. You can also listen to my podcast, which is called Unlocking Your Truth. and you can access that from the website drlesleyphillips.com. And there's a bunch of free stuff on my website. There's a book called Intuition Myths that you can download for free. You can also send me an intuitive question to get an intuitive response for free, either by having it read on my podcast or by having a free card reading. So go to the website and just check out all the free stuff that you can get.
Awesome.
You didn't have to mention your podcast is already cooler than ours. You didn't have to jump right into that, Dr. Hey, if you want to find out more about us, the Weekend Superheroes, you can find us at weekendsuperheroes.com. Search for Weekend Superheroes at iTunes, Google Play, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Stitcher. Follow us on YouTube and Facebook. Dr. Lesley, anything you have to say out there for the people that are so curious about their past lives, they just want to know?
Well, I mean, just then give it a go, give it a shot. What have you got to lose? You know, you can gain a lot from having a past life reading done. You can find out more about yourself. You can find out more about the people that you know in your life. Maybe you knew them in a past life. You can find out about skills and abilities you never knew you had. If you're thinking of changing your career and you're attracted to something you've never done before, you might find out that actually you did do it before. So there's so much you can find out by having a past life reading. Guys, you heard it here first. Dr. Lesley Phillips, thank you so much. We're going to say goodbye. Darius, you want to say goodbye?
Thanks for joining us, and goodbye, ladies.
That's how we do it. Pat, would you like to say goodbye?
Thanks, Dr. Lesley. Appreciate it. And good night, guys.
Steve.
Thanks, Dr. Lesley. I'm just going to leave it at that because that's the only person that matters right now.
It's true.
And goodbye to all of our past lives as well.
Yeah, that's also true.
And always remember to podcast responsibly.